welcome back. We have with us former Mayor Carty Finkbeiner. You can say whatever you want to say, but there's nobody who loves this town more than this mayor, and I am delighted to have him with you. Absolutely. I'm delighted to have you with us today. Education has always been something. You and I have worked on a million committees together around improving the education that's available to our kids in this city. Yet, while we see some changes, we seem to sort of be ebbing and flowing in terms of public education in this town. What should we do from your perch to make a difference here? We do see some changes in some troubled schools, some scores that are improving, but overall, we seem to not be able to get that rhythm to stay.
Is there a more, probably the two greatest challenges our nation has, one is continuing to develop a talented, multi-skilled workforce. We need more Macomber High School, Macomber Whitney High Schools, in my judgment, because not everybody, your daughter, my grandson, both proud, you alum, your daughter, alum of Michigan, my grandson's up there. We know that those young people got good educations and they're at a great institution right now. But not everybody is Katie. Not everybody's a Zach. They're not all prepared for college, nor do they have a desire to go to college, and I can fully understand that. Therefore, we need more training in those skills through the hand is very, very important. And whether it's building homes, it's rebuilding automobiles, it's whatever it might be, we need to get some of our young people into that. So that's one challenge America has, and the other challenge America has, and a major challenge in my judgment, is education. Like they're combined. I was referring to the first one as a development tool and skills, so I was referring to that as an economic development strategy. It relates to education. The second one is too much money is being invested in education, not to get a better product out of it. Now let's just talk Toledo. I'm not an expert in education, but it strikes me that we really should look at public schools in cities our size across the United States of America for 1 or 2 years with a group that would consist of people like very well-educated people here in the city of Toledo, including people like you and me. I have the time to do that now. We should travel to those cities and we should study what they put in place to transform. I've never found the union here to be as intransigent, TFT, as a lot of citizens say that they are. They have won a number of awards for allowing teachers to evaluate their fellow teachers and things of that nature. But I think a cooperative effort between the civic community of the city of Toledo, the University of Toledo, the administration of Toledo Public Schools, and the Toledo Federation of Teachers should take probably somewhere in the vicinity of 12 to 24 individuals over a course of 18 to 24 months to these cities, and then come back and draft a game plan that all parties agree to. And then if it means we've got to basically turn the system inside out to accomplish the goals and objectives, we should do that.
We should do that. You know, one of the issues, though, in this town has always been the perception, rightly or wrongly, by this community that the Board of Education, the Board of Toledo Public Schools, is not focused appropriately on those kinds of things.
I will take a good friend of ours, a mutual friend of both of ours, and I think he'd be a great one to ask that question, because he sat as mayor, he sat as minority leader of the Ohio House, and he was on the school board. I'm referring to our friend Jack Ford, who used to sit at this desk periodically with his good wife Cynthia. I think that'd be a good subject for Jack. Jack is really interested. I find it of interest. I thought it'd probably be his last public seat, and I urged him to go after that open on the school board. We have been friends for 30 years, even though I ran against Jack in 2005. We fortunately have a wonderful relationship back in place where we talk frequently and interact frequently together. I didn't see the same degree of gusto and enthusiasm from Jack in his later months, even though he was ill, and I'll attribute part of that to his illness. But I didn't see the same kind of gusto and enthusiasm as I saw when he first went into the office. And I never have asked him why, and I think that would be a good question.
Good question for him.
Yeah, because now he's going for another public seat in
Absolutely.
City Council.
In City
I'm
Council.
supporting him because I think he'd be great for City Council.
You know, though, the school board, especially with this recent report about waste in the schools and a lack of focus in the schools and ways that they could save lots and lots of money, the leaving of Dr. Pecco, the entering of Dr. Durant, still leaves many in this community concerned that the focus is not on educating these kids. And I'm not sure what they need to do to fix that.
Well, let me give you a specific example, Donnie, that only would lead me to believe in that example TPS should have done more. I was mentoring for Kids Unlimited a couple of years ago. First time doing it. Student was at Martin Luther King and went down there on Tuesday afternoons at 4 o'clock for 1 hour throughout the school year. That youngster was deemed to be a slow learner. He'd been held back a year. All I'll say is, with a little encouragement, he basically was very soft-spoken, and he lacked confidence, and he was even intimidated by some of his classmates because he was more bookwormish than he was an athlete, let's put it that way. I saw that youngster go from being held 1 year behind and considered a slow learner to graduating with honors from Martin Luther King. He's now has to get a little extra. He's over at Knight Academy getting extra work before we apply him to St. Francis or Toledo Technology Academy or St. John's. But that young man, whose young sister is as bright as he is, they live down on Vance Street. Mother works her tail off for those kids, walks to school and walks them home in the snow. Those youngsters just needed encouragement and, in fact, some demands to say, hey, this is not acceptable. You can do better than that. And I'm so proud of Bryce Ragland. I don't think there's as much of that done as there needs to be done. I know that program, Kids Unlimited, is making a difference in not the permanent year-round charter school they've got over on, used to be at the old St. Agnes Church on Martha Street. They have that now. I'm referring just to the after school. I would see vice presidents of companies. I'd see retired guys like me over there that I'd known 25 years ago. But I also saw bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, young African-American men that were not problems. They might not be totally immersed in the book at that point in time, but I wasn't totally immersed in the book either at that point in time. But give them a little encouragement, a little reward. Take them for an ice cream treat if they get a B rather than a C. And amazing the results that they're getting in terms of seeing the grades come up by that extra attention of only 1 hour, 4 days a week. We didn't do it on Friday, but 1 hour, 4 days a week. Those kids are, so it can be done. And I don't fault the teachers. I know the teachers graduate bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They're going to go into these schools and they want to make a difference. I think the bureaucracy for all of us, and you know that as well as I, city bureaucracy, school bureaucracy, anybody who's in a large thing, you get a little bit, your batteries get a little bit dull, constantly fighting to make change in the system that you're a part of.
Yeah.
But I really think we need to look at it. If they've done this in some place, like I'll just throw out a city, but Colorado Springs, Colorado, or they've done something like this.
There are great models in New York. There are great models in Chicago.
We need to try to do that and get the whole business, the business community, Donnie. I'm going to put them right in a spot. They're not doing anywhere near as much for Toledo as they did 35 or 40 years ago.
They do seem a lot more disengaged.
But the one thing that they're still interested in through the Toledo Community Foundation and the university and everything, I know they remain interested in the education. We need to get them to take the lead on this and the partners that I suggested involved.
You know, but that's really the issue, though, Mayor. If we don't start looking at the management of the city in terms of partnerships, I don't think we have a chance.
That's a good point.
In the city.
That's a good point.
We've got to manage this city as partners. There can't be city council fighting with the mayor or the county commissioners being over there doing what county commissioners do. I mean, at the end of the day, if this city's going to be viable, everybody has to be focused.
Simple question for you, and I'm reversing the role. Should we push as Indianapolis has done, as Louisville has done, as Jacksonville, Florida? Should we push Unigov, city, county, combined?
Oh, that's a much
collective
better
government?
question for you. I am one though who thinks that the simpler the systems of governance, the better.
I would not disagree with that.
I certainly
would not disagree with that. It has
Yeah.
worked beautifully, and all three of those are really growing cities.
And you need economies of scale
You
at this
do,
point as
you
well.
do.
You need to be able to show that there isn't, duplication in government that gets you not enough bang for that buck.
The simplest thing that we need to do, and we're getting close to closure, is if every politician could forget about their next election
Right.
and focus upon what the citizens of that community, what their goals and objectives are. And sometimes we politicians have to lift to a higher level some of the average citizens' goals and objectives. But if we could get not thinking about the next re-election, Congress is the best example of that.
That's a great place to end. Great place to end. That has to be the
Thank
last
you
word
very much
right
for the
now.
opportunity to
Stay
be here,
with me
Donna.
though.
All
Okay,
righty.
stay with me. We'll be right back.